Yo, it's Trent. Hope everyone's having a good day. Happy Friday. And we got handcuffed and body slammed by racist cops story time. So, a couple things before I say this story. One, it's a good one, alright. It is good, like story-wise. Two, I've been saving it just because I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'll talk about pretty much whatever and not be nervous about it. This one, I don't know what the comments are gonna look like, right? I don't know if there's gonna be backlash, what people have to say, right? But I also want to say they weren't racist towards me, they were white cops, but you'll see what happened. I was involved when I didn't want to be, and I probably should have just kept my mouth shut, but I tried to help out the boys, and you'll see. This is just from my point of view, but it was messed up. Those cops were some assholes. But anyways, let's get into it. So, to start off the story, I was with, let's just say a group of troublemakers, okay? But I was one of them, too. I'm not saying I wasn't. I was getting into stuff with them. So, we were taking some stuff at the time, but on this day, we really, genuinely, me and my two buddies, right? We just had weed on us. That's the only thing we had on us. Now, we hung out with two older dudes, right, that went to our school. They had other stuff on them, okay? They had some blow, they had some pills, they had some other things. We only had weed, okay? I just want to make that clear, all right? Now, normally for a story, I would never do this, but because it involves racist cops, I'm just letting you know this, all right? The two older dudes were two white kids, then my two buddies are two black dudes, and then there's me, right? So, I'm hanging out with the boys, we're driving around, and what do you think happens, right? We get lit up. Now, what wasn't great about this is we got, lit up, we're pulling over, but the driver was acting sketchy as hell, right? And we'd hung out with him for a few times. He'd never acted like this, and I'd gotten pulled over with him, but nothing ever happened from that time, right? So he started acting weird. He took like 3 turns and then pulled over, and I was thinking, like, what is this guy doing? He's probably just annoying the cop or something, because it's not like he was getting out of the way. It was nighttime. It was like 8 or 9 p.m. at night, right? So we get pulled over, but yeah, he takes forever to pull over, so that already is not a good start to this story, right? Just not good. So we're sitting there, and I'm like, great, this isn't great, because I have, a baggie of weed in my left pocket that is probably like this much. I mean, I'm trying to think, it was probably like 6 or 7 grams. It wasn't actually like this much, but it was a good amount, like when you're 16 or 17, however old I was, but it was a good amount. So I was worried, right? My first thought was, well, I could try to stash it in the car, but I already know what the older dudes have, like what drugs they have on them. One, I could just throw the weed in the car, but like, I don't want to, that feels like kind of not snitching, but you know what I mean? Like setting up the boys for failure. I'm not going to do that. They're already going to get in trouble for stuff. So yes, I could like be like, oh, whatever, it's just weed, who cares? But no, I'm not going to like give them an extra charge or something when I don't need to. I'll just take my own, right? So that was my mindset at the time, but I was nervous. I'm not going to lie. I was nervous. Now, here's the thing I wasn't expecting, right? When he's talking to the driver, he quickly asked him to step out of the car and took him back by the police car, to the back of our car at least, I don't know. And he searches him and finds the big boy drugs right away, right? So then he calls another car, and another car comes. Then a third car comes with a dog. So once the dog comes, we all have to get out of the car, right? And when we first got out of the car, he made us stand in a line. And at first, I just want to say this, even though it doesn't really matter, but at first, no one was being racist, okay? They lined us all up, and they started searching all of us. And sure enough, they found everything on everybody, right? Up until that point, there was nothing really out of the ordinary for getting pulled over, right? Like everything was normal, how it should have been. Well, here's when it started getting bad, right? He tells us that, you guys have weed stuff, so you're not going to get arrested, but he's telling it to me. He's not saying it to like all of us. He's looking right at me, and he's not taking his eyes off me. I mean, that was weird, but it's like, whatever. Maybe he's just choosing to talk to whoever, right? Like, that's not really racist. That's just like, whatever, who cares? Now, but when he's telling us this, he's like, you guys won't get in trouble, you'll get in trouble, but you won't get in, like, how they're getting in trouble, right? But we needed to get picked up. I'm like, if you have parents, you need to call them to come pick you up, or, we need to go back to the station. That had already happened to me like a year prior when I had like worse things on me. So I knew how this went, right? So I called somebody and made sure I could get picked up. But my two black friends, they didn't have anybody to pick them up. So there's a couple options here. I could try to give them a ride, but the cop wasn't having it. He's like, no, it needs to be a parent or like a guardian. He kept saying that too, but I don't know maybe an older sibling. I don't know. But I'm trying to help them out still, while also trying not to get myself in trouble. Well, here's where it gets real, I don't know if this is illegal or not, where it gets sketchy to me, right? He already said that we were good to be picked up, right? So there's no reason that any of us should have been in handcuffs, I think. That's just my guess. But while they're arresting our two older buddies, the two white kids, right, they put them in handcuffs. They don't do anything to them. They don't body slam them. They don't throw them down. They don't make them sit down. They put them in handcuffs. They stand them up against the car, right? And they were waiting for another car, so they weren't like riding together. I don't know. There was a lot of cop cars there when it seemed like we didn't really need like 3 or 4 cop cars, maybe 1 or 2, but whatever, right? So the two older white dudes, they send on their way, whatever. Like I said, I don't see why we really need handcuffs, but he walks over with 3 of his cop buddies, and they're like, put your arms out, right? And I'm not going to be a smart ass when I was a little scared. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I wasn't scared, like scared, but I was nervous, okay? I didn't want to get in trouble somehow. So I wasn't going to be some smart ass and be like, well, actually, I know the law. If we're not getting arrested or detained, why do we need the handcuffs? Like, I'm not going to do that and make things worse, right? So I was just like, oh, okay, I guess. Well, he puts the handcuffs on my 2 black friends first, right? When he does that, he's like, you guys need to go sit on the curb, right? And the one dude, he didn't even talk back, my friend. He didn't even talk back. He asked a simple question. Like, I get the cop, like, maybe you don't need to say anything, but all he said was, how come we have to sit in the grass? Like, can't we sit on the curb? And the cop nudges him forward. So he's got his hands behind his back, literally handcuffed, and he pushes him forward. So he hits the curb and like falls into the grass. And then he does it to the other dude. And that's when I said something. That's when I was like, yo, what the fuck is that? That's not very cool. Like, what is that? And he puts me in the handcuffs, and I'm just like, whatever, man, that's bullshit. And as soon as I swore, as soon as it wasn't as soon as I said something, because for like 2 minutes while he's getting my handcuffs ready, I was going, this is stupid. You can't treat him like that. You can't do that. I was just basically feeding him lines that the manager says to the cops in Straight Outta Compton. That was kind of like the same things I was saying. I was like, you can't be doing this. I think it's bullshit. As soon as I said bullshit and he put me in handcuffs, he like grabbed me. My other buddies, he pushed down, right? I was expecting maybe a little shove. He like wrapped me up and like threw me down. I was like, what the fuck, bro? And then my boys, they started saying shit too. They were like, fuck you, they started talking like shit. And I didn't think that was a great idea because, he already said we're not getting arrested or anything, but I get it, right? Like, if someone's being racist towards you, I get defending yourself and swearing and getting all mad, right? So I'm laying there too, and I'm going to support the boys. Plus, he just threw me down, so me too. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like, you're an asshole, whatever. Well, 2 of the cops are saying things back to us. They're like, you shut the fuck up, and no one said, like, any words you may be thinking they might say. I'm sure they thought them assholes, but they didn't say anything like that. They didn't say any super horrible racist terms, but they were just staring, man. They were just staring at us. And only one of the cops, I would say out of like 6 of them, I would guess was not racist, because he was standing there and he looked like he felt bad for us. He was sitting against the car with his arms crossed, and he was just looking down at us. Like, the rest of them looked at us with just anger, just like, the one dude was sitting there looking at us like he was just observing everything. Like, he wanted to stop it, but he couldn't, right? So finally, my ride's getting closer. Because my phone was going off, so I knew that whoever was coming to pick me up was getting close, and I knew they'd see the lights. So I was like, can I, get my phone out and tell them where we are? And he's like, didn't you already do that? I was like, yeah, but, I'm about to get picked up. I'm not going to do anything. So he releases the things, and when he releases it, he, like, shoves me forward towards the street. It was like, what is the deal, dude? Like, this is bullshit. So I'm walking towards the car, and then right before I'm deciding, do I just go, or do I, like, tell my mom what's going on, try to stay around, because this was weird, right? Like, I didn't know. I didn't feel good just leaving my boys with these guys that are body slamming them. I know they're cops, but still, like, it seemed weird. It seemed sketchy, but the boys were telling me to go. They were just like, go, dude, it's fine. Fuck these, people. I'm just going to say people, but they were just like, fuck these people. You know what I'm trying to say, but they were not liking the cops. And I don't blame them. Those cops are fucking assholes. So I get back to the car, and I'm telling my mom about it, and as we're leaving, they're standing them up just to make them sit right back down on the grass. Like, they were on their stomachs on the grass. Then he's picking them up, flipping them around, and sitting them down. It was like he was just doing it for control or some shit, like a control freak, dude. And it pissed me off, right? So we go to school a couple days later, and all of us that were in that car, like the older guys that got arrested, me and my two black buddies, everybody, right? Like, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 5 of us, the whole car, right? Gets brought into the office where our school disciplinary officer is. I can't believe I just said that on the first try. Right? He's sitting in there, and he's also a cop in our town, right? So he asks about what happened, right? And we just started going off, right? We were like, fuck you guys, and fuck you too. We were like, are you buddies with those guys, those racist assholes? And the cop was black too, the school cop, right? So he asked, he's like, racist? What happened? What do you mean racist? And we tell him everything that happens, right? And at first, it was just my boys, right? They were just spitting the truth. They were. But they were going real fast and, like, aggressive. They were saying it how they should have said it, right? He looks at me and he's like, did this happen? I'm like, yeah, man, I got slammed down too. Not that I don't think it was racism towards me, but I did get slammed down for saying bullshit about it. Like, I don't know, man, something wasn't right about that. So then he asks if we remember any of their names. I didn't remember a single one, but one of the older dudes remembered one of their last names. I don't know if anything ever happened because of it, but the cop, he said he would do something, or he would try to do something. And he was a black cop, so you'd think maybe he takes it to the heart. But also, I know cops have each other's backs, so I don't know how that battle goes right there. But yeah, it was not a fun time. But yeah, I don't know. I do not fuck with cops. I just don't like them, okay? I've never had a good experience with cops. The closest to a good experience I had is when I got pulled over after hotboxing my car in the rain, and I was speeding. I was going like 20 over. I was high as fuck, and my whole car smelled like weed. I also had my bowl right in my little cup holder, and the guy didn't give me a DUI or anything like that. He just told me to go home. So, I mean, I'm sure he could have smelled it. I'm sure he knew. So, that's the only closest good experience I've had. But fuck cops, dude. There's been like 3 times in my life where that was the only time I've been like physically like fucked with, like slammed down when I don't think I deserve to be. But there were other harassment times, like when me and my friend were just trying to take pictures in an empty parking lot, and these cops would not leave us alone, dude. They followed us from one store to another spot we hang out at, to another spot, and none of these spots are like trespassing or illegal. They just followed us around for like the entire night, for like 2 hours. It happened again one day when we went bowling. We went at a bowling alley, dude. We were at a bowling alley, and this cop started following us. So I don't know if it's just the way we look, or what exactly the cops in this town have against me or my friends, or what it was. And I'm not even friends with those dudes anymore. I'm really not. I just, I gotta tell this story because that shit's just wrong. And you know how this world is. There's been a lot of cop things, white cops, black dudes, bad things happening. I guess more so like last year, but I'm sure there's been a lot of things this year they don't talk about or they don't show on the news. So yeah, that's my story. But that's fucked up, isn't it? Like, those cops are assholes. That's what I think. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you comment, I do my best to answer all the comments. If you're going through something and need someone to talk to for real, I answer all the positive comments. That's what I meant to say. That's the comments I answer. If you're going through something and need someone to talk to for real, my Instagram's linked in the YouTube channel somewhere. It's linked. You'll see it in like the more info. Also, my Instagram's the same exact name as my YouTube account. So go on there, DM me. I'll get back to you within a day or two. You're not alone. But thanks for watching. Fuck some racist cops. And yeah, peace out. Go Bears. God, can I end the video?